Jules, I thought this whole business was over.
Oh.
But there was another back and forth between Karim Benzema and Didier Deschamps. Nobody's looking too good here. I'm not going to ask you to take sides because that would be like taking sides between your children.
Why are they not looking? I mean, I'm not sure I agree with not looking good here because Deschamps is asking in an interview, his first one since the World Cup, about Benzema. He says, this is the story. There's only one truth and Karim knows it. And he explains the story. I mean, his side of the story.
Okay. When you say there's only one truth and Karim knows it, you are already saying, I'm going to give my side of the story. And I'm going to implicitly suggest that Karim's side of the story is not the accurate side of the story. That's what I mean.
But we don't have Benzema's side of the story, so we don't know. So Deschamps is not saying Karim's side of the story is not right because we haven't heard yet from Benzema. We're hoping. He said now that he will have to talk. I'm hoping that he talks to ESPN and we're on the case. We're not the only one, I can tell you that. So I don't know who he will choose. And then he will tell his story and then we will have the two sides of the stories and then we can debate even more if we want to about it. Deschamps says that the injury was too serious, that even Karim himself said to Deschamps, okay, it's dead for me to play in this World Cup. And then Deschamps said, take your time to go home. And instead, the next morning when everybody got up, he'd gone already because he took the 8 a.m. flight from Doha to Madrid. I think I know the side of the story from Karim, which is like the injury was actually not that serious, that he could have stayed. They could have at least gave him another 48 hours. And then I've done another scan after 48 hours to see the evolution of the hamstring problem. But there's certainly a feeling, I think, in Karim Benzema's camp that they could have still used him in that World Cup. When Deschamps said, he could not have played before the semi-final. I could not take that. I could not choose to keep him in there if he had not played before the start of the tournament and the semi-final. So yeah, this is it. But I think Karim is really hurt.
Sorry. Before we get to the Karim's response, what kind of nonsense is this? Well, why can't you keep him and play him in the semi-final if he's injured earlier in the tournament? Is there some rule?
No, but you don't know if you're going to make it that far before the tournament starts.
So what? You've prepaid your hotel room. Like, it's not like you're saving money. What?
For example,
does he eat a big breakfast? Like, why do you got to?
We've had two big stories like that in the 2002 World Cup when Zidane gets injured before the World Cup. And he stays in the squad when we know that he will probably not even be able to play in the whole of the group stages. In the end, play the third game, he's like 50% fit or something. It's ridiculous. But the start of that World Cup...
Was that the game where he got sent off? Or am I confusing it? Where he stamped on the Saudi player?
No, that was 98.
No,
this is 02, yeah.
Right.
And the whole atmosphere was polluted, you say?
Yeah.
By Zidane injury. Every question was about Zidane injury. Everything was all about Zidane, which deserved it in the end to the national team. In 08 at the Euros, Patrick Vieira got a hamstring injury before the Euros. The whole question was, do we keep him within the squad? Do we not keep him? At some point, he might be fit, maybe the quarterfinal, the semi-final. We were not sure. And same thing again. All the questions were about Patrick's hamstring, Patrick's injury, Patrick this, and what we're going to do. And then do we keep him? How does he fit in? Blah, 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 blah. In the end, they didn't even make it out of the group stage like in 02. But again, that was the negative vibe around the national team. And I think Deschamps had that in his mind and maybe thought that if Karim had stayed, all we would have asked every day would have been about Karim. How's Karim? What about his injury? What about this? What about that? Blah, 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 blah. And maybe he didn't want that. I don't know.
But still, according to his version of events, he didn't tell him to go home.
No, he said, take your time to go home. Take your time to go home on the next day. Instead, Karim left at 5 a.m. to take an 8 a.m. flight from Doha to Madrid.
So Deschamps did send him home.
Yeah. No, what didn't you understand? So
I'm really not clear on the dynamic about whether Deschamps decided. He said
they decided together because Deschamps said that Karim said to him, it's dead.
Right.
I'm not going to, I've got an injury now. So Deschamps said, okay, then you go home. But he said, take your time. You don't need to rush going home tomorrow. That's what Deschamps said. And then Deschamps said the next thing he knew, he gets up on Sunday morning and Karim is gone already because he took that really early flight to Madrid.
So is it fair to say that there's really bad communication between the two at the World Cup? Can we agree on that part? Because if they're saying two different... I mean, those two guys were there talking to each other, presumably, in a language they both understand.
Yeah.
So clearly there must... Is it possible some
what we don't know is that now Karim says that Deschamps is a liar. So he puts on his Instagram stories after that interview was out, this very famous French gif of this influencer, like this, like Snapchat star who says, menteur, tu mens, like you're a liar, you lie, you lie, you liar.
Right.
So that was at Deschamps, and then
And a little clown emoji, yes.
and then saying, "I'm going to speak now." We don't know for Benzema where is the lie in what Deschamps says. Is the lie on the gravity of the injury? Is the lie about don't rush to go home? Is the lie about that Benzema said, okay, he's dead, I won't play here? Where is the lie? Is maybe all of that is the lie? I don't know. But there's certainly Benzema says he's lying somewhere. We just don't know right now where is the lie.
Right. And Benzema's camp don't filter through where the lie is or waiting for Benzema.
No, what we know is that their side of the story is that the injury was not that bad. Right. So that he could have come back before the semi-final.
I'm sorry. I hate going back to the World Cup. I know it brings like unpleasant memories.
No, I find this story fascinating because I'm a
But
Karim
it's-
Benzema guy, of course. So I would always go for his side. And I think I agree in the seriousness of the injury from what I was told and from what I saw. I even saw the scans. And I promise you the scans don't look that serious. So what? So Deschamps was like extra cautious and say like, could he have been back before?
What I don't understand, very simply, is there's a group. It's a World Cup, right? I've never played in a World Cup, but if I had, and I were Karim Benzema, I would have thought, and if I was Karim Benzema's coach, it's like, Karim, we don't know if you'll be able to play in this World Cup. Probably not. Let's say you feel dead, whatever. But please stay. Please stay, be part of the group. Because you're a leader, because you won the Ballon d'Or, because you're important within my group, because it sends a good message. We're all united. We're all one team. I mean, that would be the standard thing to say, not for him to feel like he needs to go home, not for Deschamps to say take 24 hours and then go home or whatever. Like, I would have thought, unless there was some pre-existing reason for him not to be there, which there may be.
Yeah, it's a fair.
It seems a weird one. Injured players stick around at World Cups, right?
Well, so Lukaku did, Mane didn't. So, but you could say that Senegal didn't think they would go far enough to have Mane back. Maybe I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I think every case is different, I guess. But yeah, maybe there's a bit of that. Maybe Deschamps didn't want him there.
All right.
Maybe.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.